If you're a business owner, you don't need us to tell you running a business is tough. Don't let QuickBooks and spreadsheets slow you down anymore. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you the visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Join the over 21,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/C-suite. netsuite.com/C-suite.
Welcome to the Superhero Homies podcast, the Infinity War edition. My name is Quentin, and as always, I'm here with the homie Kevin.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Hope you enjoyed our more fanfare-sounding intro here, courtesy of the recent movie Avengers: Infinity War. Because yes, that is from the soundtrack.
And of course, we're here again with our 2017 Guest of the Year, and as we just discussed, possibly our 2018 Guest of the Year, Caleb. Welcome back, brother.
Guys, I'm so happy to be here.
You were just about to say he's always here, isn't he?
No, I was going to say it's always great to have him here.
Oh, okay. Well, it is. Yeah.
Either way. Yeah. I'm insanely psyched to be here for this. It's been so hard not to just nerd out since we left the theater.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to have you here. First of all, we need like a constant because both Kevin and I can be like on the stream odds. And so it's good to have like someone here to keep us, almost, I don't want to say in check, but for movies like this, yeah.
Especially, one thing I was thinking about, this movie has so much more of a powerhouse cast, so we need more people to discuss it properly, It
really does. It was just a huge cast. I mean, probably, it could be the biggest cast, as far as like the AAA names out of any movie ever.
I agree. I think so. But before we get too far, guys, I do want to let everyone know that the first half of this podcast will be spoiler-free. So fret not. We will not be releasing any major spoilers other than who dies in the first. I'm just kidding. There would be no spoilers in the first half of this podcast, and then there would be a distinct pause in the podcast, and we will let you guys know when we're moving to the spoiler-filled section. So listen on, even if you haven't seen the movie yet. This first half It's just a preparation for you guys, let you know what you, not necessarily what you can expect, but maybe the tone of it and overall vague thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and get into this thing. There's a lot to go over. Even in the spoiler-free version, there's a lot that we can discuss here.
Oh, yes, indeed. Where to begin?
In the spirit of this podcast,
what's up?
Can we talk about getting Thor back?
Yes.
Can we start with that?
Yes. First off, can I please congratulate our boy here, Caleb, for... Okay, guys, so off mic, Caleb debates this stuff all the time with so many other people, be them friend or foe. In this case, I was following a comment thread on my boy here where he was fighting off foes talking about, like, Thor this and that, and it's like, no, Caleb understood that we did not see Thor in the last installation of him, but here he comes back. And it's awesome.
There was a round of applause for him in our showing.
Exactly.
And it was well deserved. And I was clapping along with everyone. So he's back.
Yeah, he's back. I know that they were.
Thor's in the movie, folks.
I think that's more of like a you can breathe easy, guys. Like Thor's back, and it is amazing to see him back and to see kind of like his mini journey. If I can say something, like they're walking into the theater. I know you had similar feelings, Kevin, but there was a worry. There was actually an anxiety upon me, and I think maybe you too. There was a bit of an anxiety.
Used that wording, yeah.
And for me, the anxiety was on my way to the theater, thinking about everything this movie has to accomplish, telling the story of Thanos, telling the story of gathering the gems, telling the story of pretty much Thanos and what he's going to do. And also telling the story of where the characters are at, how they're going to get together, what's going to happen. Telling the story of the Black Order, telling the story of everything that's going on.
So many different ideas all coming together here in this one plot.
Yeah, there's a lot that I knew was going to have to happen in this movie, and I was afraid as to how they would balance it and how they would juggle it and how they would execute. And I gotta say, like, from my humble opinion, I think that they did a damn good job.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing to you, actually. It's like, nope. All the worries, all the common issues we've been hearing about from numerous sources before this movie's release, they've been put to rest for me. I'm okay.
I think 30 minutes in, I was still worried.
I can see that.
Like, not to the point that I didn't like what I was seeing on the screen.
Right.
I just had this anxiety because the pacing of this movie is unlike any other movie I think I've ever seen. Literally, I think about 20 or 30 minutes in, I was like, dang, is this going to pick up? And the next thing I know, I'm like, has it been 3 hours? You know, and the credits are rolling and my jaw's on the floor. You know,
yeah.
I'm still shook. On the way here, I stopped at the gas station and the guy's looking at my Black Panther shirt and I'm like, okay, just ask me if I'm going to see Infinity War, if I saw it. And finally he's like, you going to see Infinity War? And I was like, brother, I just left the theater. I don't know what to tell you. I'm still shook. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the common feeling for this movie.
I mean, it is because we've been waiting for this movie literally for years.
Years.
Yeah.
A dadgum decade.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, an entire decade of build-up. And so I don't envy the Russos. I feel like, I may have joked with you about this, Kevin. I feel like the Russos are kind of in the same boat as J.J. Abrams. Like, I don't want to have to be the one to live up to that kind of hype.
Yeah.
But I think that the Russos did an amazing job because there is such a huge cast here, and there's a huge cast of superstars. I mean, like we have the Guardians, of course. There's Thor, then the Earth Avengers, and all that.
Right. It hasn't been unsaid. I don't know if I fully agree with the statement, but this is, well, in all truth, it's a huge ass crossover. Some people are saying it's the biggest crossover or the most aggressive crossover to ever be attempted. I don't know if I agree with all that. I haven't thought about it, but there's a lot, in other words, is what I'm trying to say here. Just so many different things from separate worlds all coming together finally. Yeah. And the collision in this case was beautiful.
I think really what's impressive to me is how everyone seems to get appropriate screen time.
Yeah. I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
It's like there's no character that's just... I mean, I think even in Avengers 1 and 2, you could argue that there are characters that just kind of get set to the side.
Exactly. Hawkeye comes to mind for that, yeah.
Right, and there's way less... way less characters in those films than there is in this one. And in this movie, every single person, I felt like got adequate screen time.
Heck
I mean, I think this might have been War Machine's best outing since like Iron Man 2.
Oh, piss.
It may have been.
Yeah.
You know, it was doing the Age of Ultron podcast that I actually forgot that he was in the movie.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Because he got like 10 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing.
Yeah. But like Caleb said, the pacing is kind of... It's not bad, but it's interesting. It's different because I don't think that there's been a lot of movies like this, so the pacing had to be really unique. I think that's the best way to put it. I mean, because like to me, it didn't feel slow. It felt appropriately paced when it needed to be. Like they definitely slowed down when they really needed, or when they really needed you to feel something.
Right.
And then it definitely picked up when we were basically. To an extent, guys, because there's so much going on, there is a lot of globe trotting across this movie. There's a lot of
universe trotting.
Yeah,
right.
Universe trotting.
We transition constantly between settings, and they're very dramatic differences. So all of a sudden, you're in this one place, and then, without too much warning, you're in another place. But it's not even that jarring. It's all flowing together super well. So you're just kind of like, oh, I was curious what's happening here. Now let's see. Let's find out.
Yeah. Yeah, so fortunately, like there's not, like you said, there's not a lot of jarring moments, even though there's so much going on. I'm not going to say that the transitions are seamless, but every time they do transition, they automatically captivate you with the following scene, and so it doesn't feel like it's out of place. Everything feels like a puzzle that kind of fits in together almost perfectly. So it was really uniquely done, I thought. How did you guys feel about the character portrayals in this? Maybe more so from the characters that we're not that familiar with from previous movies.
I'm pretty sure we already sung Thor's song here. Yeah,
we definitely did. I loved Thor in this. I'm a big Thor fan. Not so much I'm a big Thor MCU fan. I'm not really a huge fan of Thor comics or really even in the Marvel by Animated stuff he's been in. But I love Thor 1 and even Thor 2, which most people don't like. Yeah. But I love Thor 1 and 2, and I loved him in Avengers and in Age of Ultron up to a certain point. Yeah. And I thought in this, the moment we were talking about where the theater erupted, I mean, I was like 8 years old sitting there at that point in time. You know, it was great.
It's like you went back to you 10 years ago. Yeah.
Can we just take a pause real quick and say kudos to Chris Hemsworth for hitting them bicep curls.
Amen. Yeah. I remember I made a comment to you in the middle of the theater like, oh, yep, nope, he still worked out for this. Go figure.
The man gets bigger every Thor movie.
Well, I mean, he was about to fight Thanos.
This is true.
True. Yeah.
He was like, we're fighting who? Okay, I'll see you guys in 6
Exactly,
months.
yeah.
No, but yeah, Thor was definitely a character that was really well done. Once again, he was really true to form here. It's like he woke up.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's the best way to describe it. Thor had an awakening.
Yeah, and I want to talk a lot more about that in the second half of this podcast because I have my own separate thoughts about that. But you can definitely tell when there's a hard twist when it's like, oh, shit, it's appropriate now for actual Thor to come back and not Mr. Chris Hemsworth, you know?
Right.
And it was pivoting, but it was an appropriate pivot. You know, it was like okay, finally the realization is coming to life. This isn't stand-up night anymore at the frickin', Madison Garden. This is you getting your ass together to fight Mr. Purple over here.
It was almost like the Russos listened to this podcast.
Exactly.
That's all I can think about at that moment.
Yes.
Please subscribe, Russos.
It is kind of interesting because, like, in one of our previous podcasts, we mentioned something like, even though we know it's impossible, it would have been great if the Russos could have directed Ragnarok. And
that was last podcast.
Was that? It may have been, or one before last, one of the two.
Something like that.
But no, it's interesting because it's like, if that's the Thor that we could have gotten there, then it would have made a world of difference. But what's really cool here is a lot of the team-ups we get are team-ups that we've never seen before.
Yes.
And how they handle the team-ups could really help make or break this movie. And I mean, maybe it's just because, it's still fresh in my mind and I'm still hyped, but I thought that they nailed it for the most part.
And a lot of them are team-ups you would not see coming.
Right.
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Right, it's characters that you didn't even know you wanted to see them team up, and they gave it to you anyway. It's like, if you would have sat down, not to name anybody specifically because I don't want to spoil anything, but if you would have sat down and made a list of like top 5 team-ups that you wanted to see in this movie, most of them may not even be on there, but, they gave you team-ups that it was like, these characters work so well together and you didn't even know.
Yeah.
So...
yeah,
I thought that was really awesome.
It's really hard not to mention examples of that right now and just fan out over it. Yeah,
right. But yeah, even on an individual basis, I really like how these characters responded to certain threats, and I really like the tone of the movie too, because that was kind of a worry. Just a little bit of a worry because the Russos, in my opinion, have never had a problem with tone.
Right.
And so I thought that they would nail it for this. But there's a lot of other elements in this movie too, so I didn't know how they would juggle it. And there is an appropriate amount of humor in this movie, and it's really like I'm on to the Russos and what you guys are doing because it's like they can hit you with something heavy and then they'll try to gently piggyback up a little bit,
right?
And then hit you with something heavy again and then try to piggyback up.
It really is a cool art form of theirs to do that because, again, that was a huge worry of mine. Something we've been very vocal about, very loud about in the preparation for this movie. But no, I agree, man. The tone, it was there for me. I didn't have a problem with the way that everything came out, especially with the way that the movie started gearing towards later on, especially in the second act. But I don't want to talk too much.
The humor, I thought, landed. I was cracking up, and then I was get real serious, and I'd be like, "Oh God,"
Yeah, I mean,
so they just had me in the palm of their hands the whole movie.
Yeah. No, there were some moments early on where I was kind of sitting there, like, really just nail biting because I so did not want to see old mistakes rising back up to the surface. So I was really kind of worried when there were like a bunch of jokes in a row at the very beginning. But then as the scenes progressed and as I really got to feel a deeper idea of what the tone was, of what the Russos were pulling over our heads for us, it really just made me kind of, okay, we're good. We're good. This isn't Saturday Night Live or nothing. Okay, we're okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody really got the back burner to me in terms of character portrayals, I'd say it's probably Black Widow. If somebody,
that's true.
If anybody got robbed of any screen time,
Yeah.
to me.
And I do have a question about her character for later. Obviously for later. But that's a great point you bring up. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I once again I really enjoyed the balancing act that they played, and it really does take a really great crew and a really great screenwriter and really great directors to nail that tonality, to give us something that's heavy and intense, and then to also give us that humor that still fits in. Not very many movies can do that, but this movie, in my opinion, really pulled it off.
Absolutely.
Maybe in a weird sense, and this is me just trying to analyze the technique more so than discuss the movie at this point, but maybe in a sense that's one of the pros of having such a large-ass cast. Because at that point, yeah, you get a lot of faces and names and AAA talent you have to work with, sure. But at the same time, that means you also have a lot more power in the bag to utilize. So maybe that was possible in this movie because there was so much talent, because you had people that could pull off your dramatic, and then you had people that can do your comedic, and you can, blend them together because they're AAA actors, they're AAA talents. They can blend.
Right. I think the reason also why it worked so well is because they didn't try to actually merge the two in the same time.
Right. No.
We didn't get the heavy and the comedy occupying the same screen at the same time.
No.
If they tried that, then it would have been a misstep, most likely.
Agreed. Yeah.
I feel like I was trying to delay it, but it's hard to delay talking about the giant purple elephant in the room, like the arguably the main attraction.
I can't decide if that was a pun or not. If you're literally about to say what I think you're about to say, yeah.
I'm talking about Thanos.
Of course, yeah.
Like who else is giant and purple?
No, that was the point. Like, okay, that was a little bit too punny for a moment, but we'll see. Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, for a lot of people out there have been worries about Thanos and about his portrayal, because it's one thing to watch a trailer and to hear some cool lines, and then it's a completely other thing to give us a compelling villain that has a motive that we can understand, of course not agree with, but one that we can understand or comprehend. Some of our favorite villains have been, of course, as of recently, Eric Killmonger, Loki, and hopping over to Fox, Magneto, because these are, in my opinion, these are villains that do have motives, that do have things that we can maybe not relate to but understand. And I think that in a weird way, they were able to capture that with Thanos.
I only saw the first trailer, but I think after seeing that trailer, you really it could have gone either way. Thanos could have been this one-off sort of villain that, they had some cool lines. They could have Ultroned it where he's just kind of a shade of himself. I think you can put those worries down. I don't think anyone who's a fan of Thanos, you can't see me, but my face is lighting up right now talking about it. It's just, he's arguably, and I want to know what you guys feel about this, I think he is the main character of the movie.
Yeah, this was a Thanos movie.
No, it really was.
You really can't get it mistaken. This is a Thanos movie. And I think it's because they went that direction that they nailed, and that they had a good balance of all the characterizations or their usage. Because if they focused it on like a team or an individual, it would have been imbalanced, and we would have got an unbalanced villain. But because the movie was so focused on Thanos and about what he's trying to do and why he's trying to do it, it came off so much better, and we were able to because we know who our heroes are.
Oh yeah,
we know what they're about.
We've got to spend 10 years with them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, this movie wasn't about getting to know our heroes. It's about how they react to this new threat, and it's about getting to know who this threat is.
Now, in the theater, I did have a question constantly drilling into my mind here, and now I finally want to ask you about it. Do you think, and be as broad as you can, please, right now. Don't give me no detail. But do you think that Thanos in the movie was close. I'm trying to be careful with my wording here. Close to the Thanos represented from the comics. Like,
Yep.
was he a good adaptation in your mind?
Absolutely. I was actually stunned by how well he was written and portrayed.
I was loving it personally, but you've had way more Thanos comic experience than I've had. I'm just gonna flat out admit that without shame. But no, I really enjoyed it. I just wanted to see what the
Yeah, for all you hardcore comic readers out there who like to read a lot of Thanos material, you won't be disappointed. He was definitely Thanos that you know and love. Forget the fact that he doesn't wear a lot of his armor in this movie. Forget the fact that there's a lot of also he's not pink in the movie, guys. So
yeah, there was someone else that mentioned that recently.
Yeah,
I remember.
I think it was someone that made a post on our.
Yeah.
On
Well,
our
no,
page.
I was actually speaking to someone in face-to-face actual, old school conversation. And he brought it up. It was somewhere at work, maybe? I don't know. Either way, you're wrong, dude.
Yeah, he's not pink, so
Exactly.
he's fine.
He was adequately colored.
Yep.
What did you guys think about the voice? Do you guys think that Josh Brolin got the voice?
I liked it, yeah. I mean,
His voice work was fantastic.
what about you?
I thought so too.
Okay, cool.
I was really whenever Thanos wanted to convey an emotion, I thought that it was spot on, which is very difficult for a CG character. When I found out he was all CG and it was going to be mocap, I was kind of worried about it because there are positive examples and negative examples from all of recent cinema of each. And I think this is one of the best mocap characters that's been done. I mean, I just thought that he did an excellent job with it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and it really is. Like there was, as a matter of fact, like the CG for Thanos was so good that I didn't even realize that he was this fully CG character until I got to a part that I had actually seen before, and
that's right.
Yeah, and I was like, oh. Okay, and so like I just say all that just to say that Thanos was really well represented here, both physically and from like his personality aspect as well.
Perfect.
But no, let me ask another really big question to you guys here. Do you think that the action in this movie lived up or possibly surpassed that of Civil War?
I think so.
Yeah.
So Civil War was probably the best example we are going to get for some time of superheroes fighting each other. In this movie, I don't think there were as many like one-on-one fights that would kind of parallel the one-on-one battles of Civil War.
True.
Like when we got to see, Cap fighting Spider-Man in Civil War, that was just a cool moment we'd all been waiting to see. So maybe not from the one-on-one perspective, but as far as like the team battles versus Thanos and the Black Order, I think the action was really good, and I think it was different in a good way from what we're used to seeing.
I was actually going to say something very similar, and just building off of your answer, it was a different type of action. Like you were saying, it wasn't the cool one-on-one, almost like a fighting video game, pitting hero against hero, but more so team against threat moments. And no, it was amazingly awesome. The things that you kind of see coming from the trailers, the things you never saw coming that are actually in the deeper parts of the movie, all of the action, some of it actually did get me to the edge of my seat, which I feel like is a hard thing to do because, we've watched so many action flicks. And so now it's like, okay, here's a fight scene. But no, for this movie, it was like, oh shit, we're getting it on again. All right, man. Actually getting into it. It was good.
Yeah.
And just to expand on that, I felt like the acting never took a back seat during the action. Whether it was anguish or victory or inspiration or despair, whatever the characters were meant to feel at that time, it was really tonally correct. Some of the action has comedy interspersed in with it, and that was good. I felt like the acting was just incredibly good, especially since most of the time they were fighting something that wasn't even there.
Yeah,
right.
They're fighting
you never
guys
feel
in-
like that.
yeah.
Which is hard as hell by the way.
It is.
Yeah. Like, how do you make that look good?
Well, I imagine they did like they did for Avengers 1 and Age of Ultron, where basically they had guys in gray suits with the motion cap stuff that they fought. And it's so fun watching like the deleted scenes and all that of them fighting. They look like putty men in the gray suits.
And Tom Holland even said as well that there was a lot of times during the filming that he did not actually know who he was fighting because they were that secret with the script.
Good.
So they were like, just do this and this is what we need you to do. And he didn't even know who he was fighting in a lot of those.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Yeah.
It is. It really speaks to the talent that they had in this movie.
Yeah, it does. So to me, this movie, it is great. I do unfortunately have to get into a little bit of a not so much negative, but it's kind of a trade off as to what you get in making a movie of this size.
Okay, what's up?
The Black Order, they were a little underrepresented. Going into this movie, you're going to see them, and they will be really cool.
You won't know their names at the end.
Yeah,
You don't
would
know
not.
for the
That
comics.
is true. Yeah.
But if you're looking for like a really strong characterization from them, then you may leave the theater feel a little bit lacking in that department. But to make up for it, I will say that the Outriders are by far the best army henchmen that they've ever displayed in a Marvel movie, by far.
Yeah.
They're better than the Ultron bots. The Outriders they're just so fearsome and aggressive. They're better than the Chitauri.
Yeah.
Yep. The Outriders they're just an amazing force, and it's so fun to see them in action. So I mean, as a whole, though, even the Black Order, they really just stand there to represent Thanos.
Right.
And that part they do nail extremely well from the comics. Their powers, they do also, for the most part, nail extremely well from the comics. I mean, there's a thing or two here that they tweak, but
Right.
it has to happen.
One of those things for the sake of the story.
Exactly,
Type of
yeah.
deals, sure.
I didn't feel like any of them were just throwaway, though. They all
Yeah.
felt
Right.
very menacing, very powerful.
They had more love than the Heroes 3.
Yeah.
How could they not? They were in the film.
I know, right?
Yeah.
No, but I gotta admit, though they weren't fully represented to their best extent, I do gotta say that they did come off as great right-hand men and potentially women. I'm pretty sure one was a woman.
Proxima Midnight's a woman. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I was about to say, because she was she was kind of like more your Helga, She was a very brute and strong person. But no, I will say that they were all threatening. Like when they were on screen, it's like, oh shit, the elite are up.
Right.
Who was you guys' favorite of the four in the movie?
Oh shit. Ooh.
Ebony Maw.
Agreed. Same here. Thought
Yeah.
it was done incredibly.
By far, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was definitely the best. How about you?
No, I was thinking, I was tossing it up between him and help me remember this, the really big bastard.
In the movie, his name is Obsidian Cole.
Which is weird, because I remember we talked about
Yeah,
that.
in the comics, his name is Black Dwarf.
Right. I really liked Black Dwarf. But no, Ebony just had better actual on-screen presence, whereas Black Dwarf, I feel like, had really cool... it was easy to observe his combat prowess. Like, he really had a flexible style that just kind of fit into the action sequences super well. Like, all of a sudden, he's doing that big-ass hammer thing, and then later on, he's doing something else without being spoiling. And,
He's kicking ass.
yes, thank you. He is kicking ass.
Skipping the name taking, too. Just straight to it.
Exactly, yeah. And he didn't even bother chewing gum, But, no, so it was kind of a toss-up between them for me, but...
I see you did that.
Yeah.
But no, I will say this though. Like, I thought that that Corvus Glaive would get more. He's the leader of the Black Order. Honestly, guys, I'm not gonna lie. You can't really tell from watching the movie. You probably think that maybe Ebony Maw or Proxima Midnight were the leaders.
Yeah, I agree.
Just from
I got
watching
the feeling that Ebony Maw was the leader in
Same here.
the movie.
Yeah.
Just from the way that I think he probably has the most dialogue out of all of them.
Oh no,
yeah.
he does. Like I said, he had the most on-screen presence. Also, I don't think one of them spoke very well. Either that, or like you were saying, like the volume was down. So it's like if our boy Obsidian Cole, or his
Black
real name,
Dwarf.
Black Dwarf, thank you. Yeah, whenever he spoke the once or twice he did, it was really mumbled or really quiet, and it was kind of like, oh wait, what? I couldn't make that out.
To be fair, I think that maybe for all theater, the volume seemed down a little bit to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys felt that, because like whenever like something humorous would happen, there was like people almost right behind us that will almost cackle, and so it would kind of drown out the dialogue that was following up a humorous moment.
And normally, it's that Dolby Atmos is usually to the point you can't even hear anybody
Right.
Yeah.
in there. Even if people are talking, you can't hear them. So that it was a little quieter than it usually is.
Just to clarify, listeners, so you guys can get it, because we all watched it together. We paid out for the damn good theater, not your average theater. We got the GTX surround sound, all the fancy bullshit going for us there.
And by the way, shout out to Caleb once again, because of Caleb, that's how we were able to get our awesome ass seats.
That's true. He told me about that. So
had
thank
the
you for
best-
me too.
The best seats in the theater.
We
were
did.
literally like the first like 8 tickets. When we had a kind of a big group with us, but we had like the first 8 tickets bought like the day they went on sale. So we just had the perfect viewing experience.
Oh yeah, upper middle center.
Yeah, it was dope. It was amazing.
Oh yeah.
But no, so I guess I want to kind of talk on this this one last thing before we wrap up the spoiler free section, because if you have noticed, I'm sure you have by now, Kevin, but the spoiler free section is always the hardest section.
It's stupid, is man. You have no idea. Like so much
Especially with
tongue
the-
biting.
Especially with a movie like this.
Hell yeah.
It's extremely hard. Let me ask you guys this: was there anything that you were maybe a little disappointed in?
Not that I can talk about in this half.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean,
Gotcha.
that's a safer question to start the second half with, maybe, but no, not
I
right
will
now.
say we did. I kind of hinted at this earlier, but while there are some team ups that are not expected that we get and they're delightful, there are some interactions that you get robbed of. We'll get very specific on those in the
Interesting,
second half. There are some interactions that you really would have wanted to see, and you don't get those, but maybe those are being saved for Avengers 4. Yeah, who knows?
I'm interested in knowing which ones you were predicting there. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't feel comfortable talking about any of my
Understood.
stuff on this half.
Okay, so let me ask another question.
What's up?
Did I just forget my question?
Yes.
I guess I did. It was a good question too.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
just wait till it comes back.
yep.
Filibuster.
So Jim Starlin created Thanos back in
No,
1970.
Quick, somebody make a Rick and Morty reference.
I know, right?
Oh yeah. So being as vague as possible, guys. This is I'm gonna make this so vague that I'm just gonna make this a yes or no question.
Okay.
Did you guys like the ending?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
My
Yes.
my heart and soul would say no, but my brain says yes.
Agreed. It was the most tragic, tearing thing you can imagine, but it was super yes.
I actually have a question while we're still in this half. Would you guys say this is the darkest MCU film?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Simply because to nail the characterization of Thanos, he himself is a dark and tragic figure. So in order to nail the tone of that, I feel like in order to nail the tone of Thanos, you really have to kind of go that route.
Yeah.
Just to make the movie accommodate him. So yeah, I will say that. I think it is.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think of other movies that got anywhere as dark or
Iron Man
somewhere close.
3 attempted it.
Oh gosh.
We not.
Okay, I was waiting for you. Yeah. Yeah. No.
This movie is so far removed from Iron Man 3. How dare you mention that in this sacred ground?
Yes. Oh, and
First
also
Avenger is pretty dark, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it got anywhere near as dark as this, though. So I think you're right about that. This has been the darkest one thus far. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I do agree. So overall, guys, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, we're just going to give our closing thoughts on it, keeping it spoiler free. And if you guys are up for it, giving the movie your accurate or your opinionated scores as to what you would score it right now.
Gotcha.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. I guess I'll go ahead and go first. I thought that it was very well paced. There were things that I expected to see in the movie that I didn't, but they used that as an opportunity to keep the movie going at a good and steady pace. I really enjoyed the fighting and because the fighting in this movie, the action in this movie was really well done and spaced out properly, so that you never feel like you're getting too much at one time or not enough. I thought that the character portrayals and representations were also really well done. It was so fun seeing these team ups, like we discussed. You thought that you would never see. The sounds that they use, I feel like maybe some people won't appreciate them as much. But when you think about this movie, when you watch it, the sounds and the music that they use were so well done. It made so much sense, because it helps to build up the dread or the anticipation or whatever the feeling is that the directors want you to feel. And the story was just a damn good story that they were telling here. And I will say this, guys, you will leave the theater feeling a swell of emotions, and some of them may, but essentially, guys, when you leave the theater, you're gonna feel a bunch of emotions, and it's gonna be great. You will enjoy this movie. I had to give this movie overall a 9.2 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool. Dang, dude.
I gave it this high of a score because with everything they did in this movie, they did the very best they could with what they had to do. No other movie has done this.
That's true, actually. Actually, I was going to give it a very similar score. 9 was the first number that came into my head, and I started asking myself, why was I feeling that? And you're right. I mean, so many aspects about the movie that I was super worried about, things that I had that anxiety for, were just absolved. And everything going into it, quickly melted away as I continued flowing through here. The Russos did I don't want to give too much away, but a horribly great job at making sure that the tone fit with the super teams that you're getting in the moment, and all of a sudden when they finally did cross over and you're seeing these partnerships and these combinations that you would never imagine, it was awesome. It was more than you could imagine, but what you would want had that come across your mind, The score, very fitting for what the movie was, I mean, there are just so many things about it that they did really well. The list of things I wish they could improve upon is very short. Yeah, I'm very comfortable giving it that high of a grade.
I'm glad you mentioned the soundtrack, because I feel like we didn't get to hit that, and I was thinking that throughout the film, is the soundtrack was amazing. There are some times where you don't really notice it because you'll probably be so caught up in what's going on, but the soundtrack was good. The acting was good, and in the second half we'll kind of get into. I feel like most of the negatives that we might have, we can't talk about them in this half.
Right.
I'm going to go way out on a limb because I'm still shaking and give it a 9.5. I don't know that that'll still be my rating tomorrow, but right now I am in like a fanboy stasis.
You're trapped in that emotion, yeah.
I am, and I'm still. My brain is like my subconscious is trying to process it as I'm talking. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9.5. This is definitely upper echelon MCU. I don't know that I could say it's my favorite. Time will tell, because I'm one of those people that likes to watch a movie like 5 times. Mm-hmm. So if 6 months from now I'm watching it on Netflix over and over and over again, then maybe so. But it's definitely top tier. It's definitely top 5.
Oh, it is.
And I think it's the best Avengers movie.
Hands down.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So
no. I already made plans. I already was telling Q this. I'm gonna go see it again. Like I already want to go take that experience in.
Right.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah, as soon as I can put myself through that again.
That's very true. Very true.
All right, let's move on to that second half,
Yep.
shall we?
All right, guys. So instead of giving you guys a traditional 5-second pause here, what I want to do is take a moment here instead of this break period. I want to tell you guys a little bit about our Patreon page. The Superhero Homies are branching out, and we are moving on to other venues. Don't worry, we will still continue to do our Sundays and Wednesdays podcast, and as well as our superhero review podcast. None of that will ever change, ever, never. But for those of you who are interested, which is all of you, we have a Patreon page now in which we are covering video games, television shows, new movies, and cult classics. So we're going to be doing a lot more now. And the cool thing is that our Patreon page is actually only $3 a month. You will get a shitload of content.
Very much so, yeah.
You're going to get a lot of content. And Kevin and I, we are devoted to bring the same quality of content to our bonus material on the Patreon page as we are with our normal podcast. So yeah, it's going to be like working a second full-time job. But hey, that's but we do what we got to do to make it happen, and we really want to make you guys make you guys happier and continue to give you guys the cool material and more of the quality material that maybe you guys are searching for.
Exactly. And one other thing I want to add on to that, actually, just to give you a break to drink your drink a little bit there. Here's the other idea here, folks. We are taking in and, doing so many things to prep for all these other Patreon pages. We're watching extra movies. We're playing all these games. We're buying a lot of this shit, too, which is great, because we already were going to do that, podcast or not. But here's the cool idea. If there's anything you guys would like us to podcast about, any cult classic, any game, whatever have you, please email us about it. Tell us about it. Communicate with us. Let us know so we can tell, hey, Q, let's go do this thing. They suggested it. Yeah, sure. What the hell? Let's do it. It'll be great for everybody, you included.
Absolutely. So once again, $3 a month. You guys get all that material and more. You'll be getting the new Jurassic World movie, the new Han Solo movie, and then every other single new big movie that's going to be coming out. We'll be sure to cover. So yeah, if you guys are interested, just go to patreon.com and search for Superhero Homies. You will find us there in a jiffy because yes, we are the only Superhero Homies.
Yeah. Originality.
Absolutely. But yeah, thank you guys again for all your support thus far. And if you guys want to venture onto the Patreon page, that'd be even better. All right.
I think that was long enough of a pause.
That was 5 seconds.
Ironically,
If you're still here, then spoilers are coming your way.
exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The warning has been issued. The gloves are coming off.
Yes.
The gauntlet's coming off.
Yeah, the gauntlet is coming off.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Like they tried with Thanos and almost worked.
Yeah, exactly. Just go ahead and rip off a tiny Band-Aid before we get to the big ones. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I want to go ahead and start with this. We're in the
Please.
spoiler section now, so you guys, if you're listening to this, then you deserve to hear what's coming. Did you guys predict half the people dying that died?
No one had plot armor.
No.
No one.
No one.
I will say this.
What's
just
up?
right off the rip, is I totally thought Cap was going to die.
You and me both.
I was like, please not Steve Rogers. I don't want
Yes.
to cry in front of all these people.
There was one saving grace, the limited thing that Steve wasn't going to die, because I had to see him with the classic shield one more time. And I didn't think that they'd kill him without him having that one more time.
I can imagine that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
That and that was the thing though, is like, there was no plot armor.
Yeah, that's
true.
It's like the things that you expected to happen or not happen. They threw that all out the door to be able to tell Thanos' story.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they did. I don't know that I was prepared for them to.
No. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to do this with you guys here. Let's try to recap. Who all did we lose?
Okay, Loki. We all called that.
we all
Yeah.
called that shit.
right off the rip.
Yeah.
But
I know.
Heimdall.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
man.
not imagine that.
Yeah. Now, see, I said the potential for Heimdall to die, but only because
Right,
I
true.
thought that he maybe had the soul gem. No.
No,
he
he
died
definitely-
because, yeah.
We did not see that, but let's get to that in a
We
minute.
all lost
yeah.
our bets on where the soul gem was.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
No one predicted that. If you did, then you were either part of the movie or you saw like a leaked footage
Exactly,
or something.
yeah.
It was not in Wakanda.
No.
Nope.
Spoilers.
Nope.
It was in a desolated part of Wakanda.
Sure. But yeah, we lost Loki, Heimdall. Who was after that?
It's hard to go in chronological order.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
remember
true.
that order.
Like, we almost lost Vision like 3 times.
We still lost
completely
Vision.
thought that Drax and Mantis
Yeah.
both got killed
Yeah.
in the Collector's place.
Right.
But
No,
but
that's
they,
what I thought.
But
Yeah.
they didn't, and I was like, oh wow, because like Drax just got annihilated.
I mean, in my mind, he was dead.
Yeah, I
when
thought
you
he was
get
dead.
cubed, there's not much coming back from
Right.
that.
Yeah.
What's great is that what we saw there was taken from the Infinity Gauntlet comic. Drax himself, I don't believe, was killed like that. But Wolverine did suffer a fate similar to Mantis. Thanos turned him into rubber when Wolverine tried to stab him with the claws. Thanos was like, "Nah, dog, you rubber now."
Yeah.
That was literal dialogue from the comic.
Kind of like a slap to the face to the whole, oh, you have adamantium, that's hard metal? Oh, okay, here's rubber.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
I think Gamora's death hit everybody way harder than we expected. If you told me yesterday that Gamora was going to die, I mean, I would have punched you for one. But, I just would have been like, meh. But then when you saw it in the movie, it was just so heartbreaking.
It really was.
For the amount that I cared about that character before, I mean, I thought she was great, but she was just a guardian to
Right.
me, you know? But as of right now, I mean, I think she probably carried more emotional weight than anybody in the Guardians. And I think she was one of the best characters in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
She
I mean,
was.
she was detrimental to introducing multiple faces of the Titan himself to us, because of her, and I'm going to call it this loosely, her sacrifice, aka her throwing off the frickin' edge. We got to see that deeper, kind of closer to the comic related side, the side that you and I have been discussing in podcasts past about Thanos, about the more tormented mentality that he's suffering through and everything. And of course, it was tragic and it was sad, and it was like, whoa, what the hell? No one saw that coming. But it was very appropriate in a sense. It was eye-opening for really getting an understanding of Thanos more so across the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Gamora's death was really gripping.
Oh yeah.
And I think for me, it was gripping, partly because, yes, she was a really cool and interesting character that had that relationship with Thanos. But it was also gripping because of the ripple effect we knew it would have on the other Guardians.
Right.
Specifically Peter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He lost his shit.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
his reaction did not disappoint. It was.
It was,
He was turbo pissed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I
Yeah,
mean,
it was
joking
fitting.
Peter Quill from movies past also, passed away in this movie, and now we get pissed off. Okay, laser blaster to the face.
we got the same Peter that instantly reacted when Ego said he killed his mom. That's the Peter
Exactly. Yes.
and I kind of thought that we might see some like latent abilities come out of him at that moment in time.
we got. Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed when we didn't.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, is he about to do something crazy right here?
He re-grabs the power gem.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah, what's
I
up?
thought Doctor Strange was incredibly well represented in this movie, even better
yeah.
than in his own movie.
He was. And I think the reason why he was so well represented in this movie is because with this origin movie, you have to discuss his origin. And that's hard to do with Doctor Strange because he doesn't have much of one, even in the comics. Like, there's not a whole lot of pre-Doctor Strange material that we have.
Right.
But here, he's been Doctor Strange for some years now, like 5 or 6 years. And so we have a Doctor Strange that is confident in his abilities, that knows what he's doing. And I'm so glad that he and Iron Man were like the forefront of the offense.
They really were.
And
yeah.
it kind of needed to be that way.
They
Especially
went to
Doctor
Titan.
Strange.
Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go there and fight him.
Right. We're gonna go to his home planet and fight him. That right there, I don't know how I felt.
Exactly. Like that. Yeah.
It felt brash at the time. It was
Yeah.
like, you guys didn't even plan this little field trip.
Right.
You're already halfway there, and you're like, hey, we're gonna go. But I thought he was incredible in particular, and he was against a foe or a series of foes, because even that initial fight with the Black Order, it's just he could actually use his full range of abilities. And there's not a lot of people in the MCU that Doctor Strange could just unleash on, and they're still capable,
Right.
Or still alive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But here, he could just bring out the full arsenal, and Thanos could fight him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love the confrontation of Ebony Maw and Doctor Strange because I've been geeking out over the past few weeks about their encounter in the comic series Infinity, where Ebony Maw, he doesn't even so much as confront Doctor Strange physically, but he just mind rapes him, and unbeknownst to Doctor Strange, somehow outwits him and like steps aside to the magic and just gets straight to the psyche of Doctor Strange. And like when we see like those like little precision needles piercing Doctor Strange, the
acupuncture prison.
Right.
Yeah,
it definitely reminded me of their encounter in the comics, but that was very well done, I thought.
Yeah.
What did you think about their adaptation of sort of I guess it would be the Bleeding Edge Iron Man armor?
I liked it personally. I'm just gonna say that real quick, but you know more about it than I do.
No, I almost started applauding when I saw it, just because it was like this is what they wanted to do in Iron Man 3, but they finally nailed it here in Infinity War. Because like for once again for weeks now talking about this movie, I was like, it looks like he has the nanotechnology finally. It looks like he has the almost like the extremist armor from the comics, and he definitely does. And it's a damn good thing that he did.
He needed it.
When he first put it on, that was the most badass shit ever.
It really was.
It was just the coolest looking thing.
He went from Stark series jogger suit to daggum. Oh, nope, we're good. I'm all locked and loaded.
Yeah, I gotta admit something. Like going to this movie, everybody's been talking about how ripped up they would be if Captain America died. But when we got to the moment in the movie where it was the one-on-one fight between Iron Man and Thanos, I realized right then and there that I don't know if I'm emotionally ready to see what I might just see here.
I totally thought I thought he was done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. I've been keeping a tally on my fingers throughout the movie, and so I'd like flash into Q whenever I get my count up, right? Iron Man was on the hand, man. He was up there.
It's like, hey.
Yep, there he is.
Yeah,
But then all of a sudden, never mind.
Like it was, I was emotionally distraught when Thanos was starting to whoop that ass. Like, I was like, this is not gonna end good.
He
like,
just threw down on him.
It's like it's gonna be like Logan. I'm gonna have to look up in a way and pretend like I'm not crying. And I didn't realize I felt that strongly about Iron Man until that moment.
Same. I haven't
really
felt that way about him since maybe Iron Man 1 or the first
Avengers. Yeah.
Okay.
But we knew he wasn't going to die in Avengers.
Right.
In this movie, they set the precedent at the very beginning. No one is safe because, let me tell you, they opened this movie with Thanos one-on-one beating the ever-loving shit out of the Hulk.
Yeah.
And the look on the Hulk's face is surprise at first, like, is this happening? I mean, it literally is like Hulk fighting Loki, except the Hulk is now Loki and Thanos is the Hulk, and he's just beating the ever-loving shit out of him.
That was my exact thought whenever they made the crater of Hulk in the ship just then, as he just threw him down.
It was the best way to open it, because you were absolutely convinced at that moment that no one was safe.
Yeah. It was like seeing Hulk try to take on Thanos. For one thing, I'm glad they gave us that.
And I thought he was gonna break his back.
This was the only bit of Hulk that we actually got in the movie. Which by the way, like I meant to say this in the spoiler-free section, but the trailers were so misleading.
They did a good job making that.
Yeah, because in the trailers we see Hulk running with the group in Wakanda.
Yeah,
that does not happen in the movie. So that was very well done.
Really, anyway.
Yeah,
no,
not technically.
And who would have thought that Banner would be the one in the Hulkbuster armor?
Actually, I gotta give him credit. He did.
Really?
Yeah. We talked about it in the last podcast.
That is insane. Level 6 time wizard over here. Now, we know who really has the time, Jim. Thanos does not actually have it.
Like I was telling you before the theater, like, I tried to do the whole one trailer, no more thing, but then I sit down and I talk about it and we geek out about it, and then he tells me his ideas and it's like, you son of a bitch, that makes sense. Dadgummit.
Yeah, like also Hulk taking the spot of Silver Surfer, following through the Sanctum Sanctorium.
Right. Yeah.
That was
That was also called.
How did you guys feel about the Bruce Banner, about the Hulk? I mean, did you guys get the impression? Because the way I felt about it was that the Hulk got his ass beat, and that's never happened to him before.
Yeah.
And I think he was afraid.
Yes.
You know, we're used to anger being the only thing he really feels for the most part, but he felt fear. You know,
Yes.
maybe
That was,
for the first
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And now the really scary thing is looking forward. We know we have to see the Hulk again, but what type of event would have to happen to reawaken that rage monster?
Exactly.
I think we know.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was one of the parts of the movie that kind of made me a little uneasy. Okay, so here's the thing. I had the same exact thought process, thinking, okay, the Hulk, he just went through this state of surprise and now confusion and just overall, wait, I don't want to come back out, you know, that fear that's being, you know, uncommunicated right now. But at the same time, I didn't appreciate the portrayal of it, you know? It was used comically every time it was referenced. And it was kind of like, oh, okay. In my mind, I don't know what your opinions are, and that's respectfully yours, but in mine, I was a little like, okay, come on, this is actually kind of a big-ass deal. Like, you can't Hulk out now, and we're turning into like a Two-Face joke a little bit here and things like that. I don't know. I just wish that it wasn't as, let me use Mark Ruffalo to crack a joke at this moment.
I was fine with it, actually, simply because you can't have that happen outside of a comic book and expect it not to look or feel a little cartoony. So the best way to disguise that is to spring a little bit of humor on it, and then also it gives us a reason as to why. We now know why. They didn't outright tell us that Hulk was afraid, but we as an audience
can surmise it. Yeah,
from that event that the Hulk won't come up because he's scared. Of course, in the comics, it's so much easier because you have the white thought bubble for Bruce and then the green for the Hulk. But you can't do that in the movie. So I thought that what we got was a really good representation.
I didn't really care for him turning kind of green and then be like, no.
Thank you.
I did not like that. I was not a fan of that. I kind of would have just preferred for them to just let Mark kind of, act it out a little bit. Maybe do like he's done in the other films and go look a little bit of shade of green. But I really didn't like the half face. And I didn't like seeing like him just kind of turn and then back. Maybe do like the veiny green a little bit like they have in the past. I don't know. I mean, that's just such a... You have to dig for stuff that's wrong with this movie, and if we're gonna dig for it, then that would be one of the complaints.
That's exactly true. Yeah.
It doesn't hurt the film significantly.
Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah.
I mean, arguably, there is a little bit of Ragnarok Thor in there at the beginning, too. But
that was another thought of mine.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of like, kind of nail biting. That was the exact thought.
Well, that's the thing. Like I thought the beginning was really grim. I didn't see any instances of humor or Ragnarok in the beginning.
When he first meets up with the Guardians.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That too.
I will admit, every time he called Rocket Rabbit, I giggled every time.
Yeah.
Even like the 7th or 8th time he did it, I was still chuckling.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it was just funny. Rocket was awesome in this. I'm a huge
He
fan
really
of
was.
Rocket.
I loved the Rocket and Winter Soldier combo.
Oh,
I did
man.
not see that coming, but that was it for me.
That was
I loved
amazing.
it.
That's
yeah.
one of those team ups where I was like, we
Right.
didn't know
Exactly.
we wanted that,
Yes.
but we want it. I
Yeah.
want more of that. I want a buddy cop.
I loved how he's just like, a raccoon. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that slow me down. Come here. And
This
just,
is a weapon. I'm gonna get that hard.
Yes, that was all golden. It was so
It was.
so golden.
Poor Winter Soldier.
Yeah. What did you guys think of Thor's interaction with the Guardians as a whole?
Him and Star-Lord was good, but I was worried about, are we gonna get too much Ragnarok Thor?
Right.
Yeah.
But Star-Lord's reaction to him was perfect.
It really was. Yeah. The Guardians, I thought, were overall pretty well done here.
Except for Drax. I still didn't like Drax.
He was a little too comedic, but I think comic Drax did come back out. I think that, again, he kind of went through a little bit there.
I mean, a sliver. With Drax, the mere mention of Thanos should send him to a frenzy. We got a Drax that, like, he was like, oh, we're hunting Thanos, okay. And then we really didn't see any anger come out until like he saw Thanos. But there was like, we still didn't get Drax from Guardians 1, the Drax that was really hell-bent on finding Thanos.
Very true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah, I think he was maybe like halfway in between Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 Drax. I was not really a fan of him. It wasn't like Guardians 2 where he was just, it was just all forced and he was just taking away from the film. But he is a minor character
Yeah.
in this. In a story where I think comic readers would want to see him take on a more major role. But
Yeah.
you know, if they're gonna treat him the way they did in Guardians 2, then put him on the back burner and let him sit there.
Yeah, agreed.
This movie, I think, really shook up Guardians 3.
It did.
It did. The whole idea of it. Yeah.
Well, you know, I was thinking like even before the theater, before we saw the movie, because like a month ago or so, James Gunn said that Guardians 3 would be drastically different. And part of me was like, oh, that's really cool. But the other part of me was thinking, well, that's what any, you know, director would say.
Yeah.
But no, I think that that we will see a drastically different team of Guardians next go around.
Especially if this outcome doesn't change.
Yeah, if
you know?
Avengers 4
Yeah.
doesn't retcon some stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
It'll be Team Rocket.
Yeah,
like
Team
Pokemon.
Sylvester Stallone plus Rocket, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Nebula, right?
Yeah, yeah, she's still
Nebula
kicking.
and Rocket, the movie.
Yeah. I still watch it.
Well, I mean, now we have, you know, Sylvester Stallone and the other Guardians team there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Adam Warlock will finally come out of his cocoon.
Right.
There you go.
Yes. I
He's
was.
just going to be like, okay, where did everyone go?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like that was something I was really hoping to see. Was
Yeah.
like, not even Adam Warlock. I mean, maybe just another glimpse at the cocoon. Just something. You know. But the Captain Marvel stuff was good. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah. You want to talk about what we didn't see that we wanted to see?
Yes.
Because we were hinting at it in the spoiler-free section. Cap and Iron Man never interacted in this movie, not once. And you know, that's like, I was upset about it, but it's like, okay, we got part of that story in Avengers 1, we got another part of that story in Avengers 2, we got some of that story kind of in Winter Soldier, even though Tony wasn't there, it was like, some of this stuff he may have been okay with, or you could see him going along with. Civil War was
head full,
100% that story.
Yeah.
That's not the story they were trying to tell here.
Yeah.
They were trying to just tell the story of Thanos. And so, you know, it's kind of like we wanted it, but the Russos were like, they're wiser than we are.
Yes.
Like, this story did not have room for it.
Right. It would have taken away a little bit, I think,
Yeah.
from what they were trying to tell.
Plus, it's not impossible for them to kind of not really tell a lot of it and focus on it too much, but to also use that as a powerful drama moment in Avengers 4, potentially. Because if you think about it, all the original Avengers are still kicking. They didn't dust away. You know, we still have Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, all the whole crew,
So it really calls back to that scene that we saw in Age of Ultron with Iron Man, when he saw when he has this vision where he sees the Avengers all dead and he's kind of stepping over them, and with all of them still technically being alive, I mean it leaves a little bit of room for something like that to still come true. Let's go to Thanos for a little bit. Now that we're free to say whatever the hell we want to say, what are your guys' thoughts and take on Thanos here?
He didn't crack a single fucking joke.
Not one.
For the whole movie.
Thank you.
Other than the people's futile actions to try to stop him.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
And you know, I just thought, I mean, he was badass. There was no point in the movie where you thought anyone was safe. There was no point in the movie where I realistically thought anyone could beat him. As a matter of fact, even when Thor showed up with Stormbreaker and when he throws it at him. And by the way, Stormbreaker, lost my mind. It was at the top of my list of things I wanted to see.
I love the creative difference there, but I'll talk about that in a minute, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just, when he throws it at him at the end, I half expected it to get shattered.
Me too.
Or destroyed. I was like, no, don't break it. We just got that. But then when it struck, and he pushed it in, I was like, oh, this is so badass. But I was like, cut his arm off, cut his arm off, cut his arm off. And it just, you know.
Oh, I love Thanos' words though. Like, you should have gone for the head. Like, shit, he's right.
Yeah. Can I admit something? I was so worried in my seat that was actually going to be the end of Thanos. That they were actually about to one and done Thanos.
No.
And I was like, okay, don't you dare do this bullshit to me, guys. Don't you
I
do
did
this.
not have that worry. I did not have that fear.
I think he is I don't know. There was 2 points in the movie where, like, I didn't think that he was going to die when Gamora stabbed him.
Yeah, no.
But I didn't expect it to be a mirage or whatever. I didn't know that, he had already showed up and wrecked the place.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was really
so
awesome
good.
use of reality gem, like showcasing. Oh, by the way, I can do this now.
Right.
I thought all the Infinity Gems were well represented.
They were.
Yeah.
Especially the reality. They played with that a lot. They played with the time a lot. I loved Doctor Strange going and looking, and I think this will come into play huge in Avengers 4. Doctor Strange looking at all the possible outcomes, and I think that we'll find out that's why he chose to save
exactly.
Tony,
Yeah,
because he knew that there was one set of events that would have resulted in a positive outcome.
I'm
Right.
glad you brought that up, actually.
Yeah, because I thought about that too. Because his last words to Tony was like,
This is the only way.
It's the only way. And because Tony asked him, "Why did you do that? Why'd you save me?" After Doctor Strange explicitly said, "If it comes down to you or the time gem, I'm saving the time gem," and Doctor Strange replies, "It's the only way." That's absolutely got to come back in Avengers 4.
I gotta give Benedict a shout out of love and praise real quick, because he was. But think about it. Go back and recall the lines if you can, and if you will, please. Some of the things he said were the most cliche, overly used lines in history, like the world is in grave danger, things like that, like the universe is going to be destroyed. Very common lines that you see almost in cartoon shows nowadays. But he carried them so damn well.
He's very
like his charisma, his acting talent, and his character really came into it and brought life again to those things. And so the first time he dropped one, I was just kind of like, oh, please don't tell me his entire script is going to be like this. Don't you dare give me that. But no, he was able to get on with it and say it all. Because, again, one of those common lines is, this is the only way. Like, I feel like that's another one that can go up on the that's pretty used board.
Yeah.
But, again, I loved how they used it all here. So, Benedict, thank you, man.
And I love he was never having any of Tony's bullshit either. Their
Right.
interactions were
Exactly.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, he wasn't having any of it. Wasn't dealing with it, and it was great. It was so great.
I did want to see one of them say "No shit, Sherlock" to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still got a minute.
Yeah,
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? Yeah. So, what did you guys think of Tom Holland in this movie?
I was heartbroken, dude. Not about his portrayal or nothing, just the ending. But let's
Sad.
yeah, like I literally couldn't breathe for a second. I'm like, oh shit. But,
When everybody was being dissolved, his was the hardest to watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
his and Groot's was hard too. I will say that.
He was just so convincing. You could feel the fear
Yeah.
in his voice. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Tony just like, you just could feel the anguish.
Right.
He was great though. I thought the Iron Spider suit was incredible.
It was.
So originally I was a little upset because I know from the comics that comes out during the Civil War. Like you actually see the suit in the comic and everything. So I was hoping that we could kind of see it in the movie, but I was so much happier with its portrayal here.
That would've been
and
too much for
waited
Civil
to use
War.
it here.
Because they introduced
True,
him.
but
Yeah.
here I'm just saying they used it so damn well, and I loved Tom's his acting reaction to it all. Like, oh gosh, what is this? What are these?
Yeah. His interaction with, I love the line with Doctor Strange where he's like, "Oh, we're using our made-up name."
Yes.
Yeah,
So good. You just see the look in Benedict Cumberbatch's face.
Right.
Like, that is my real name, you piece of shit.
exactly. Yeah, I actually saw a meme about that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was just such an interesting choice to be like, okay, let's take Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and then eventually some of the Guardians and pair them up together and see what we can do with them against Thanos.
Yeah.
I thought
It was great to see Robert and Chris work together on screen. Yeah,
Chris
I
Pratt.
liked that.
You really have to specify which Chris. Yeah,
True, very true. There's too many Chris's here.
yeah.
Speaking of Chris's, How about that amazing Captain America intro?
Yes. You know what's amazing about that is that he didn't do anything really particular at all. He just showed up and everybody applauds.
Exactly.
Yeah, everybody was like, "Oh, you guys are fucking wrecked."
Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
I will say this though, and I've made this joke before. I'm gonna make it one more time. Please humor me. He was Snake.
Oh
Yeah, he was Metal Gear Snake, man. It was great.
yeah, he absolutely was.
Yeah,
But-
well, he should have been missing the eye instead of Thor. Oh.
Good point. Which kind of a cool workaround how they gave Thor an eye back. I didn't really think about that, but I was like, oh, okay.
It was almost like they were kind of back treading again, from Ragnarok. They were like, there's really no reason for us to like get rid of one of his eyes. So let's just kind of work this around a little bit here.
If I'm not mistaken, that was another thing from the trailer where they showed him in the forge,
Yeah,
and he had the eye patch.
he
on.
did.
Yeah.
Well, something else that we didn't see. Well, no, we did. In the trailer, you were even looking for this, Kevin. Remember when he raised his hand up, and then the
Yes.
lightning comes down.
Yeah,
and
that never happened. Yeah.
didn't it? He didn't raise Yarborn up.
No.
Maybe he didn't. Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, it just never happened.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The only time we see the weapon.
So I'm sorry, Stormbreaker,
post-forward
not
thinking.
Yarborn.
Yeah. I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
The first time, or really the only time that we see that power effect with the weapon is in Wakanda. Yeah.
And
Super
he
cool.
completely wrecks in Wakanda.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The tide changed quickly.
Yeah.
I was so in love with that. It was so good.
Yes.
Like in that moment, I knew we got our Thor back.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The
He
great
just.
return.
Yes.
Much needed because we were losing horribly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like Team Good Guys was not faring well at all on either front. Like on Planet Titan, we were not doing good.
Nope.
In Wakanda, we were also not doing too good.
Although on Planet Titan, we were doing a hell of a job. I mean, that
It was a
fight
hell of a
was
plan, yeah.
so
Oh yeah,
good.
the dropping of the big ass machinery and everything, and then just how everyone was able to like separate him limb from limb, trying to get this glove off. Yeah,
It was an extremely good plan. Whose plan was it in the end? Was it really Star-Lord's plan? Or what? It was probably a little bit of both.
He just took credit for
Yeah.
it. We don't
right.
really know.
Yeah.
Which is classic him. Yeah,
Yeah. But I really enjoyed that though. Like seeing them all work together and almost doing it. you know?
yeah, exactly.
Like-
they did almost get to it,
Right.
Until,
And it was
emotion.
a clever use of Mantis also. Really
Yeah.
clever use. Because like she held it all together. If she's not there, then this plan never gets off the ground.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Which
and
is
she's typically like a throwaway.
Yeah.
right.
character.
Yeah, because I kind of forgot that she was with the crew whenever the fight began until she came out, and it's like,
Right.
oh crap,
Yeah.
that's just about checkmate here. Yeah.
And I love that we got to see that side of Chris Pratt once again, though, when he realized that Gamora's dead, and oh man, just seeing that rage come out in him was something else. It was really fun to see, really cool to see.
I love Spidey saving them in that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Thanos is throwing the freaking planet at them.
Right.
Or was it
Yeah.
a moon? It was technically a moon.
A moon,
Okay.
yeah.
You know.
Which was awesome.
Oh, that was
Yes.
so great. It was like,
Yes.
is he gonna? Oh,
Oh yeah, he just the bullet's in the barrel and it's coming out. Yeah.
and he's just like that whole thing, like where the debris is just raining down. There's like meteors hitting, and
Yeah.
he's just like webbing through, and
Yes.
just catching everyone.
Right. Once again, that's another part of the trailer that was heavily edited. Heavily edited. Like in the trailer, we just see Spider-Man swinging along through the debris. That's all it gives us. But through that scene, he has like the arms from the Iron Spider out, and he's saving people, and like it was
Here you
just
go.
very well
Here you
done.
go. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have any names yet. Here you go.
It was so well done. Like this movie really just knocks it out of the park.
Oh yeah.
It does.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the because I don't want this to be overlooked, but the relationship between Wanda and Vision, Scarlet Witch and Vision. It didn't come out of nowhere. Obviously, we saw this thing blossom in Civil War a little bit, and then we kind of saw it fall apart in Civil War.
And a
Also,
little
yes.
bit in
Yeah.
Age of Ultron. At the very
Yeah.
end is where they first hinted at it.
Right.
That's true. That's true. I really love their relationship here. Actually, I really like how they we kind of skip past the formalities and just get to the part where they're a
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
And something else I also like is that every single pairing in the movie, including this pairing, they were all formidable. When those two, Scarlet Witch and Vision, fought off Proxima Midnight and Corvus Glaive, I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Even though Vision gets stabbed so much.
He really does. He was a pincushion.
Yeah, he gets stabbed so much in this movie, and it was amazing. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I will say this though, just expounding upon the Black Order, I do really wish that they were given just a little bit more, just something like once again, Ebony Maw. He was definitely the spokesman for the team. He was the one that had probably, well, maybe not the most screen time, but like the most impactful screen time.
Right.
Proxima Midnight, Black Dwarf, and then Corvus Glaive even. It's like they're just obstacles. They're not really characters.
I loved the aliens reference.
Yes.
So
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where they were going.
Yeah.
For a second, I was
No.
like,
Yeah.
I was like, you do know Iron Man already has a mech suit, because I thought they were
Oh,
referencing
right,
the infamous
yeah.
scene where she's
Right.
in the loader or whatever.
Yeah.
fighting the
Yeah.
thing. I was like, he already has a suit. And then when they blasted the side of the ship and it created the
Yep.
the
So many
vacuum or
light bulbs
whatever.
turned on in the theater. Then, like, oh,
Yeah, I was like, oh, you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
And
son.
then they even did the little shot of him floating.
Yeah,
off.
just like the Xenomorph Queen. Yeah,
I did also love Tony's reaction later. No more pop culture references. I'm done.
As he drops another one later on in the movie. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
How about Peter Dinklage? What did you guys think of his role?
So I gotta speak again for Q. He was not surprised. I still was a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. My guesses for Peter in this movie was that he's probably either going to play Pip the Troll, if they want to include him in this movie, or one of the dwarfs that helps create his new hammer. And so I knew at this point that he wasn't going to be a member of the Black Order. So and I was like, if there's no Adam Warlock, there's no Pip the Troll. And so it's like, well, he has to kind of be this dwarf.
Yeah.
And he was.
I mean, I was thinking he was going to be a voice actor for one of the Black Order guys, but yeah, no.
So, on the other side, can we talk about the biggest surprise in the whole movie? Red Skull.
Yeah.
Yes.
I came out of my
not see
seat.
that coming. Like, what?
Now,
What's up?
because we were talking in the movie theater, and just because I genuinely don't know, what's that Hugo Weaving?
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was either.
I can usually tell
Give me a
his
second.
voice.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet an incredibly small amount of money that it wasn't him.
Yeah.
But I can normally pick his voice out, and I don't think it was him. I've seen V for Vendetta like 600 times. So, and he really hates the role.
He does, yeah. That's what my thoughts were.
Which, whatever. But
Yeah.
when I saw his face, I came out of my seat a bit.
Yes.
Because it was just, no one saw that coming. I mean, that was the biggest surprise they probably could have put in the movie.
I think so.
Other than Coulson, I would have probably just had a heart attack and died.
It was
Yeah.
him.
Really?
Yep.
It was Hugo?
It was Hugo. Multiple
Yeah.
posts are actually talking about how, like, one, there were people somehow saying, like, wait, you're coming back from Infinity Wars or Infinity possibly? And it's like, oh, how did you guys even put this together? What? But yeah, no, it was our boy Hugo.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, would not have guessed.
Yeah, because it didn't sound like him to me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so
And
incredible.
it is. And also, I didn't think that you get that caliber of an actor back for essentially a glorified cameo.
Yeah.
Because that whole thing was just fan service.
So in that case, you're probably in agreement with me. Then we're not going to see him again.
I don't see why we.
Yeah, I don't see how. Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of. I got the idea that he's kind of banished to that place
Yeah.
forever.
I kind of thought that'd be like a representation of hell. Like a part of me was kind of hoping to see other villains past a little bit, kind of like this is going to be like an opening idea to paying homage to Lady Death somehow. But no, I was also just not disappointed with what we got to.
Right.
Let's talk about that. Actually,
Yeah.
Did you guys kind of get the hint that like Kid Gamora at the end was kind of representative of Lady Death, because I was like, okay, well, she did, and it was like, she looked at him like, did you do it? And it's like, okay, so either he's just kind of like this super warped psyche where he feels like he's doing all of this for her, or she's supposed to be a representative of Lady Death.
I could see that. Yeah.
It's a very strong possibility. Yeah. Because I was actually thinking that we would see like the embodiment of Lady Death at some point. Actually,
I was hoping so myself as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, because we can't forget, like, she is definitely a thing in the MCU. At the end of Avengers 1, the one, I guess, Chitauri leader said to Thanos to fight the Earthlings would be to court death. And then that's when we see Thanos and he gives the grin. So in some capacity, death has to be some kind of entity in the MCU. I'm still imagining.
Avengers 4.
It's a very good possibility. I mean, I want to get into that a little bit later on, too, towards the end of the podcast, as to what we think we could possibly see in Avengers 4. Because we got like 2 MCU movies, I think, between Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and Wasp.
Captain Marvel. Okay. Cool.
Which, that's a good segue to the 2 people, the 2 Avengers that are not in the movie. Which is Hawkeye, which was shocking, and Ant-Man. So what do you guys think about that decision?
Ultimately, I think it was probably for the best. I do like me some Hawkeye and also some Ant-Man, but I feel like maybe to have them, I think that, the Russos are like, okay, look, we've reached our cap, like, as to what we can properly keep in a movie and make it, and make it work out. To add any more, we're going to be taking away from somebody else, or we're going to be forcing it into here. So I think that it was overall a good decision. I don't think that anyone, no offense to Hawkeye or Ant-Man, I don't think anyone's going to leave the theater wishing that, man, my only regret is I didn't see Hawkeye or Ant-Man.
I think we'll definitely get them both in Avengers 4, especially since we know the Wasp is in it, so I doubt they're just going to have the Wasp show up without Ant-Man. And he's the next movie. Yeah,
but I think they said this movie takes place before, I think so, before Infinity War.
Huh. Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
It is.
Because I would hope that we would see some semblance of kind of what happened. Well, that means that until Avengers 4, we will not see anything unless they allude to it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of course. Yeah. Which is quite possible, because that's supposed to be current day.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, because the entirety of Captain Marvel is going to be in the 90s.
Yep.
So,
which Coulson will be in.
Yeah.
Very happy about that.
Ronan the Accuser. Yeah.
Yep. And then they also did the the after credits that led right into that.
Very much so.
Yes. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about it now. I did enjoy seeing the little Easter egg for Captain Marvel.
Yep.
I guess, however, my thoughts were, I like it. I dig it. I feel like it's just a little bit of weak sauce on that, though, because like, why didn't you call it before? Like,
like I feel like there's been other scenarios where it may have warranted calling her.
Exactly. like Avengers 1.
Or Ultron.
Right.
Or maybe when you were like in like your SUV getting shot up by Winter Soldier. Or any of those times.
I'm also kind of
Captain Marvel picture.
Yeah. I'm also kind of curious, not in a critiquing sense, but just more in like a what the hell sense. How did Nick not get to hear about this shit going on until it already happened?
Right. The people dissolving, or
no, the idea that Thanos is coming and all this, I mean, I guess at that point it was happening so quickly, but I mean, in the comics, Nick is always on top of the shit. He knows about news before news knows.
True.
Yeah.
Even though he's not the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., he is still Nick Fury. So he may have been on the way to. They're definitely, him and Maria Hill are definitely on the way somewhere to do something. So
yeah.
Hence why the button might already be in the back seat, too, and not in a desk drawer or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the pager.
I'm glad that after 19 films, they found a way to sneak a Samuel L. Jackson use of motherfucker.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
And get away with it.
Even. Yes. Let's talk about the ending of the movie.
Let's, please. I've been
for the
holding on
next-
to that.
for the next 2 hours. I feel like you could do a podcast about the end.
I mean, we really could.
We could.
Yes. Like it's so funny because Kevin and I were talking, and we were not the only ones hoping and thinking this, but I remember distinctly saying like he has to snap his finger.
Yeah.
Like it has to happen.
We have to see the full power being utilized.
Right. And boy, howdy did we. And then at this point, we really see that, no one has any armor. There is no plot armor here. Everybody is susceptible. I mean, we see Black Panther go, like, the theater got silent at this point because of the people we were seeing go. Bucky, Black Panther, Spider-Man, that one was hard.
That one was hard. That one was super hard.
I don't know if you guys heard it, but like when Black Panther went, I audibly was like, no.
Yeah.
I did hear that. I didn't know that was you.
Because with the tricky camera work they do, they make you think it's going to be Okoye, and then it's like, oh no, it's
Like
it's
all
Black
of a sudden
Panther.
his dust
Yeah.
is falling over. Like,
Yeah.
oh.
Which, I mean, I think it's fairly safe to say that he will get brought back somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
Because $1 billion at the box office. That's
Yeah.
high.
A lot of them have to. Yeah.
I mean, we know that for a fact.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Unless they are all prequels to Infinity War.
Ryan Coogler's watching that at home and just spit his drink everywhere.
Exactly.
Right. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, you guys just disintegrated the star of my film.
Right. I guess we're making Shuri Black Panther a little too soon here.
I was about to
Hey,
say, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Someone
I'm a
go give her
huge
some
Shuri
heart-shaped
fan,
herb.
You know,
Shuri was dope.
She was,
Yeah.
I'm sure you did the best you could.
Yeah. But I thought that it was incredible. I thought it was also a ballsy move what they did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because obviously, like, the guys like us who are more comic geeks were hoping for that and expecting that, and it delivered greatly. But you got to think, if you're not a comic reader, but you just really love the movies, seeing that happen,
Yeah.
and not having any kind of preparation for that happening, it's got to sting a little, you know.
I mean, that was one of my worries coming out of the theater. How are the average MCU people going to take this? You know, how is the average just moviegoer who doesn't really invest in the comic knowledge but just really likes to watch all the movies? How are they going to react to this? You know, I mean, I'm wondering how much backlash we're going to get for Spidey going, for Black Panther going, for all these big names, and then. And then we just got Winter Soldier back with a cool ass vibranium arm, and we never really get to see it that much. It's gone, Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's just.
I think everybody that died before the the snapping of the fingers, I think those people are gone.
Yeah, Heimdall, Gamora, yeah.
Loki.
I think they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe so, probably.
Here's a question though: do you think all of them will be brought back?
Well, at a minimum, we know Doctor Strange and Spider-Man have movies coming up right after 4.
Yeah,
True.
and Black Panther.
So that's at
he's also
least-
has his sequel.
Those 3 are safe.
Yeah,
Those 3.
I would hope Sebastian Stan is not done
yeah,
because I love that man.
yes.
Yeah.
But there's no guarantee about him though.
There is not. When Cap was like, I think he says like, "Oh no" or something like that.
Yeah,
I was like,
Yeah.
no, you stay here, Cap. You do not start to evaporate.
Right.
And he didn't. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah. What type of emotions were you guys feeling when we see the Captain America Thanos confrontation?
I was smiling.
Despair. For me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was more despair for me too. Like it was more like holding my breath, not in my stomach type thing.
I did love it though.
Oh, yeah.
You could just see the look on his face, like he's like, if you're gonna get past me, like you're going to have to kill me.
Right.
You're gonna have
Classic
to beat
Captain
me to
America.
death. Yeah. And this is really the only
Yeah.
time in the movie that he really gets to show that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I felt like, other than where he tells Vision like we don't trade lives, but that was him saying it. This was him showing it in action, and it was incredibly powerful. If maybe one of the most powerful moments in the whole movie.
It was, and there was like no word spoken in that exchange.
Yeah.
I think it would have maybe brought a tear to my eye if Thanos says something like, "Are you serious?" and Cap goes, "I can do this all day." That would have maybe brought a tear to my eye.
No, I gotta admit, I was smiling, one, because I enjoyed every single moment I got to see Thanos actually utilizing his power as he should have. You know, I did not want him to hold back a single drop. You know, I wanted to see full force Thanos. That was harder to say than I wanted it to be. And this moment when we saw the awesome him punching Cap, holding back and everything, and you know, that confrontation there, again, I was smiling. One, because we wanted to see it and we talked about it, how it was represented in the comics and everything, and how that was awesome. But then two, just again, I was enjoying finally seeing a villain here that was doing so damn well. You know, I really, really just wanted to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, though, I will say this, and I think I already alluded to this earlier, but seeing Thanos do his thing and the way that he was written was just so expertly done. It really did feel like Jim Starlin was on set, like, no, he would do this right here. This is what Thanos would say. That's the way it felt. It felt like the man that made the Mad Titan himself had hands on it. He did not.
Right. Yeah.
but he did have a positive reaction to it. He wrote something, I think, on Twitter.
You know, I avoided that because I didn't know. Yeah, but it's good to see that he did, though, because they did his giant evil purple titan justice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was it distracting at all for you guys that he actually didn't end up wearing his armor most of the movie? I mean, I didn't care.
Didn't need it.
Yeah. No.
No, he didn't need it.
No, it didn't bother me at all.
Same here.
Yeah. I will say, though, that it did kind of not really spoil me, but he did look better with his armor on in the scene that we saw him wearing it. Yeah,
because it was just kind of in the back of my mind the whole movie that he kind of looks like the Pawn Stars guy, and he does, but but it's just Josh Brolin did it so well, and you know, not to jump ahead, but that gives me great hope for Cable.
Yeah.
You know, seeing his performance in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was also thinking, just slightly off topic here, Josh Brolin's got to be one of the highest paid actors of 2018. Between Infinity War, Deadpool 2, and also Sicario 2, this man is doing a lot this year. So big ups to him.
Kudos.
Yeah. Is there anything we want to talk about before we begin to wrap this one up?
You brought up a great point earlier, actually. I want to give a minute or two to this one. Scarlett Johansson, actually. Yeah, Black Widow. You're right. She was kind of like, if you had to choose one character who was put on the back burner.
Well, also, I feel that Black Panther was put on the back burner a little bit.
True.
Yeah,
true.
he got more time than she did, I think.
Yeah. I think it gave more time to him, though.
Yeah. And again...
I mean, proportionately to their standing in the MCU, they gave her and Banner that one little moment.
Right.
They never touched on it again. Mm-hmm. And she was just kind of there for the rest of it.
Yeah.
With, with T'Challa, though, I feel like they probably wrote his part of Infinity War, because I don't think Black Panther had even come out when they started filming this.
When they started filming?
Yeah.
I think they were actually close to finish when they were...
Right.
Yeah.
So when they wrote this, they had no idea that he was going to be as big as he was.
That's a good point, actually.
So it was kind of like Wonder Woman and Justice League.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember an interview with Gal Gadot about that movie, and they were like, so is there a larger part for you in this since you've had all the positive reception? And she was like, well, this movie was written and mostly filmed
before it even came out. Yeah.
So I think this was a similar kind of deal. Is like, you could tell this was definitely the Wakanda from the end of Black Panther, but I think if they remade Infinity War like today, if they wrote it today, you would see more of him in it. But he was well represented.
He was.
Yeah, very much so.
I love seeing him and Cap fighting together.
That was dope.
Yeah, that was
Especially they're the
sick.
first people to run in.
Yeah.
As soon as the thing opens, they're just right there.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Right, because you get to see like the super soldier serum at work.
Yeah.
You know, you get to see like the heart shaped herb at work.
Yeah.
Like you get to see them in
that
proportion.
speed was
Yeah,
incredible.
and I love how Black Panther was just a tad bit faster than Captain America.
I was just about to bring that up. It's like Steve Rogers was just like running. He's like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, he was on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I also want to say this though. There was a lot of strong representation of females in this movie of women, and like they kicked a lot of ass in this movie.
They did.
And like I thought that was a great showing, and you know I can't wait for Captain Marvel to come out because we're gonna see even more of that. But you know, just seeing like Okoye and Black Widow and Scarlet Witch.
Okoye Scarlet Witch had some great moments. It was definitely quality over quantity.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like she's been up there the whole time. You know that was great.
Yes.
Okoye, all of Okoye's moments, I thought in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's like
Starbucks.
it's like they could tell, I guess, beforehand that Okoye was going to be like a big hit in Black Panther, and she was. I guess they maybe didn't see that for Shuri, but Shuri.
Well, they were wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong.
She's in my top 5 characters in the MCU.
Oh, Shuri is amazing.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of wanted to see a meeting between her and Tony Stark, but seeing her and Bruce Banner was good enough.
I mean, she humiliated him a little bit. Like, why didn't you guys do this?
I love Vision, like clicking the eyes open and like looking at like, why didn't you guys think that?
It's like, guys, that's a really good idea.
Right, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sure you did the best you could." Like,
She's so good.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of hers.
right.
I'm waiting for someone to put like a funny little meme or something like that, or a GIF online, and just all of a sudden have, I don't know, something funny about it.
Yeah, listen, I don't care about what's proper or what's correct or not. You never say GIF on this podcast.
I was just thinking that. I was like, we're going to talk about that afterwards.
All right, dadgummit, whatever. I shrug my
Interchange
shoulders.
format.
Yeah. Gonna have to go back and then record over that now.
As a computer nerd, my soul just bled a little bit.
I forget, honestly, which one's correct or not, so, I mean, this will help me remember. There's that. Okay.
Oh man. But yeah, other than that, like this was a hard hitting movie. There's moments where you're literally holding your breath, biting your nails because you're worried about what's gonna happen. Like the biggest, I guess, oh shit, this is gonna happen moment for me is still Thanos and Tony Stark. I thought for sure we were gonna lose Iron Man, and they did a damn good job of making me think that and making me feel like just a swell of emotions. Yeah, guys, this is just an amazing movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You guys have any closing comments before we wrap up here?
Real quick, I don't think we've talked about it yet, so I'll just go ahead and give it the Stan Lee cameo. Still very cool.
Oh, yeah.
Very appropriate.
It was
They
almost
got out of the way early.
They did, yeah.
It was
which
almost
cool.
forgettable, you know?
Yeah.
Just because there's so much going on, not because it's bad, it's just that
No, it
so much
happened
was
right at
happening.
a big climax of the movie, so there's that. The ending cutscene. We want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's talk about some Captain Marvel a little bit then.
Yeah.
So we talked about it a little bit already, and
Right.
kind of spoke on how, to me, it was a little weak sauce. You know, how Nick Fury's like, okay, now's the time. Or maybe he needed to. No, that doesn't make sense. I was going to say maybe he needed to wait until like a cosmic threat came. But I'm like, well, the Chitauri was a cosmic threat.
Yeah. Maybe they'll explain it in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Hopefully so.
They're pretty good about not leaving like a gaping
Right.
hole
Yeah.
That's true.
like that.
they-
And,
Right.
Okay.
I mean, they still never explained why, when Tony Stark's house got blown up, he didn't pick up the phone and call Thor and be like, hey,
Right.
this dude just blew up my house.
Okay, well, they didn't explain anything from Iron Man 3, like why he
true.
decided to go
Yep.
back with the arc reactor.
Or why there's a giant fucking bunny rabbit in the movie.
Yep.
True.
Or why there's 48 minutes of no Iron Man in the middle of that movie.
Yeah.
Or why the suit doesn't work at all until his house is on top of him at the bottom of the ocean, and then magically it works.
Yes.
Did you guys notice that at the beginning of this movie, they kind of like almost taunt the ending of Iron Man 3 a little bit there? Did you guys see that?
A
or
little bit
understand
with
it that way?
with the arc reactor, especially.
Right,
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us back to Infinity War. We could have gone on.
Oh yeah, we would have gone on for.
For sure.
I love that there was no mid credits. scene. They didn't want to give you any kind of hope.
Exactly,
and then just when you're like, oh, well, Nick Fury's here.
Yeah.
Nick Fury's here. They forgot about Nick Fury. He's going to, there goes Nick Fury.
Yeah. You know, the only guess I can think about as far as Captain Marvel goes, and that's to why Nick Fury was like, okay, now's the time. I don't know if maybe the Kree warriors or maybe Marvel even gave Fury instructions like, look, if you ever see shit go down like this, you need to call Captain Marvel. You need to call me. I mean, who knows? Because you know, of course, Marvel and Thanos, the original Captain Marvel and Thanos have a really deep history and hatred for one another. Like besides Adam Warlock, it's Marvel that I would want to call on my team to fight Thanos. But of course, Marvel is going to be dead. I guess spoiler alert, like he's going to die. People so Carol Danvers is going to be up next to fight Thanos. I guess, even though I've never seen her in combat with Thanos, so it'll be really interesting to see how this is going to work out.
Yeah.
I guess before we wrap up here, what are our predictions for Avengers 4?
Well, it sounds like we all, in so many words, have already kind of admitted that we do expect kind of like a retconning, a rebirthing of some of our heroes here. Yeah.
I don't know that everyone comes back.
Exactly.
That disappeared at the end, but I think a majority of them. I mean, all right. So let's just list off. You know who's definitely coming back: Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Doctor Strange. All have announced Part 2 films. Disney's not letting go of that money. I don't think Star-Lord either. You know, so
yeah, Guardians 3. I don't think you have Guardians 3 without Star-Lord.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So Spider-Man, Doctor Strange,
Black Panther,
Star-Lord.
I want to throw Drax on that list too because I still have a hope and prayer that he gets the final strike on Thanos.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen either. I think that maybe that's what they're saving the Hulk for.
Okay. I think, well, I would say it would be on one hand really appropriate to see like the OG original 4 Avengers, you know, really come through and take them down. But on the other hand, I feel like this is also going to be like a passing of the torch. So probably not.
It could be Spider-Man, honestly, since he's gonna, I think, be the new kind of leader.
You think Spider-Man's gonna
really Spidey?
I think he's gonna be the face.
Well,
kind of like how Iron Man's the face, but people look at Tony Stark. I mean, the Captain America as the leader.
Right. Maybe Doctor Strange takes over for that.
Yeah.
And I think he proved that he can.
Yes.
In this movie.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think they've already kind of talked about that Spider-Man 2, the sequel to Homecoming, is really going to be the basis and the kickoff point for Phase 4, which is really like going to be a whole new MCU, I feel like, to an extent.
Oh, yeah. You know, also, and maybe there won't be room for this in Avengers 4. This is just me really still fanboying out. But we don't even see the Xandar scene. We don't even get to see Nova Corps get destroyed.
That's true. We don't.
But that does kind of leave room for the birth of Nova. I mean, so it'd be cool to see him in some capacity also.
Yeah.
It will definitely be cool to see Steve and Tony, after everything they've been through, come back together and fight alongside each other. And maybe that is the team that, you know, that really deals the final blow to Thanos, is the two of them.
Yeah.
I could see that too.
That would be a nice little capstone on their story.
Right. Yeah. You know, that kind of makes me think, in Thanos Imperative, at the end of that book, spoiler alert if you haven't read it, the way that book ends is with Nova and Star-Lord working together to not even beat Thanos, but to keep him on a dying planet as it collapses upon itself. And so that's what they do. And it makes me kind of think that I can see like Tony and Steve doing something like that.
Okay.
Like
kind of like a going down in the fight type thing?
Right,
okay.
Yeah.
I think one or both of them dies.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I think Thor could survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I think. Well, never mind. That theory's kind of dead too. So I was gonna say I would have thought Thor survives because there has to be a king for the Asgardians to take them to their new and pilgrim them away. Exactly. That's what my brain just said. Like, nope.
Yeah.
He is the last of his kind.
You know, we didn't even get to see Valkyrie die.
We didn't get to.
Oh yeah, she's not in the movie at all.
No,
So she could
nothing.
come back.
That's true.
Or
like,
if he dies, she could be the new.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, unless she died off screen.
Yeah, that's. I was just about to
Yeah.
ask that. Like,
We didn't get to see Korg or
we
meet.
do
no.
kill Thor allies off screen now. That is the thing.
Yeah. I guess Lady Sif is still somewhere out there wondering where the hell are my people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, she might finally get out of the friend zone
Yeah.
with Thor now that she's
Yeah.
she might be the only Asgardian left, literally.
Yep.
Like, we have to do this, Thor. Oh,
It's
man.
for the good of
Yeah.
Asgard now.
Oh, what was Asgard? Yeah.
Right.
Asgard just really got the bad.
It did.
stick
They
of all
really
of
did.
this.
Yeah.
Right. They were like, okay. Because it's so funny in retrospect with Odin saying, you know, Asgard isn't the place, it's the people. And then immediately the people die.
Yep.
Man. But yeah, guys, I guess we can go ahead and wrap this one up here.
Okay.
But
Actually, one more thought. We talked about it before Caleb showed up. I wanted you to share it, actually. So you recognize the ending of the movie more so than most, I feel like.
yes. So at the end of the movie, they definitely did pay homage to the comics. If you read Infinity Gauntlet or Infinity War, you read those. Infinity Gauntlet ends the same way that Infinity War begins, and that is with Thanos almost humbled. He's in his home, and he walks outside, almost like in PJs, kind of. But he walks outside. He just sits down on his porch, and he kind of looks out into his world. He no longer has the power that he had. He's no longer like the conquering Mad Titan. He's humbled, and he's looking out into his world, and that scenery looks extremely similar to what we get in Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War, seeing the humble Titan. So it's a really cool scene to see because it is like a really good scene, just giving us comic geeks something else to geek out over. And you know, I think it also is supposed to reflect the state of mind that Thanos is in too. Yeah. But yeah, guys. So I guess that's gonna be it. We're gonna see what happens. We got a whole another year to go.
It's gonna be a long.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
That would
guess
be a good year, too.
it
though.
is going to be a good year. I mean, but you know, we've gotten. I think, unfortunately, I think we've gotten the two best movies out of the way, which was Black Panther and Infinity War.
That's just going to make it longer, dude.
I know.
And these next two could be great.
I agree.
I don't think either one of them will be a slouch.
Me either.
I don't think we're in danger of a Guardians 2 or Ragnarok
Yeah,
or
no.
I Am 3 kind of thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
it would be hard for me to ruin Ant-Man 2. I think at worst it just would be like formulaic. It would be too
Agreed.
close to the first one.
Exactly, yeah.
But worst
It's
case,
hard to go wrong with Evangeline Lilly in the mix. So.
It's true. Yeah, she's good. Hopefully, they give her more this time around. But
Yeah.
Well, it is called Ant-Man and the Wasp.
that's true.
They
Yeah.
put her on.
She's
They put
literally
her on
in
the
the title.
marquee.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys. So that's our review of Infinity War. As you can tell, we really love this movie a lot. We really fanboy over it a lot. I personally didn't know if we would see Thanos get every single gem in this movie, but I'm glad he did because he was able to do what he does and wipe out half of half the universe. I mean, we only see of course on Earth, but it's pretty well established that it's half the universe. I think that this movie does so many things well, and right now it really is hard to think of a bunch of negatives because there really aren't any. There's not a whole lot of negative to look at here. I think that if you're looking for a movie that has a happy ending and that's full of lighthearted, joy and frolicking all throughout, you're going to be disappointed. But if you're looking for a serious story with great action and really good pacing overall, you're going to get a really fun movie here, especially if you're looking at this from the perspective of our villain, Thanos. Guys, what are your closing thoughts here?
I think this is this is a Thanos movie. And I think since the very first time he appeared in the Avengers after credits scene, anyone who's familiar with the comics or people who started looking up who Thanos is that maybe aren't comic readers, I think it's been in the back of everybody's mind. Okay, Marvel has a history. They have botched more villains than they have done well. Are they going to handle Thanos well? The answer is a resounding freaking yes. Better than I expected. I mean, my expectations were shattered for Thanos, what they delivered.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. One thing that I was scared about going into this movie, that I'd have to sit here and just grind my teeth and just shut the hell up about, was whether or not they would be just making another boring movie. Something that is just following a track, following a science, doing a formula all over again, you know? And it sucks watching the same things over and over again and expecting them to slowly make progress and slowly get better. That can be the most dreadful thing. This movie did not do that. This movie broke that, and it went on to a whole new thing like it had to do, and it delivered so damn well. The villain, awesomely portrayed. The cast, as intimidating as it was in population, so well handled, with so much talent backing up the sales here. I mean, so many things about this movie were so awesome. Again, we had to fish for problems. We had to say, well, what did I really think was wrong with this movie? Because that list was so small. Everything that they did was super, super strong. And honestly, it's, like you were saying earlier, both of you guys, it's one of my top 5 as well.
Yep. It's definitely hard to accurately rate a movie after seeing it only one time, and then especially after just seeing it. But definitely our second watch through, we'll be able to get like maybe a more accurate depiction, or maybe we are spot on. But either way, we all gave it a really high score, guys. So we hope that you guys enjoyed it. We hope that you guys enjoyed the podcast as well. Infinity War is great. Go see it again if you haven't already seen it twice. We probably all are going to go see it again.
Yep.
But yeah, guys, we thank you for listening. Thank you, Caleb, for coming back, man. Like,
always.
This has been a blast.
I have to make sure I'm in town when Avengers 4 comes
Yes,
out.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, most definitely. We'll find a way to get you down here. Like, I'll make up something to get you to come down here. And then
I'm going to have you call my boss and pretend to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, guys, so we're going to wrap this up for tonight. Once again, guys, check out our Patreon page if you get time. Even if you don't make time, it'll be well worth your time. And also, just to give you guys a heads up of our plans upcoming. So this coming Sunday for the Superhero Homies podcast, we will be watching and reviewing Batman Ninja, the latest in the DC animated selection. This one is said to be an extremely good one, so we can't wait to dig into this one and to break it down for you guys. That will also, since it's so new, we'll do a spoiler-free and spoiler-filled section for that one as well. And then this
I watched it last night.
Did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I don't want to say.
We'll talk about it later.
After off air.
Yeah,
Off air.
off air.
Cool.
And then next Wednesday, we're actually going to be jumping a little bit into some comic books again and kind of breaking those down, similar to Flashpoint. But we'll be jumping into Marvel, specifically the X-Men universe, and we'll be covering the classic Chris Claremont, God Loves, Man Kills, which is a really short read, but a really good read. So you guys can also check that one out as well. And like we said, we'll also be constantly uploading new content to the Patreon page as well. So you guys can also keep an eye out for that. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you guys have any kind of questions, comments, gifts, threats, food, supplies, then you can hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com or the Facebook page Superhero Homies. And we're going to wrap this up for the evening, guys. Thank you, Caleb, once again. Thank you for sacrificing your time to be here. We always appreciate having you here. And
I was glad to be here.
Oh yeah. As always, guys, I'm Quentin.
I'm Kevin.
This is Caleb.
Till next time.